This is a case about a man who turned into a monster when he planned to kill his girlfriend and her 2 daughters in the middle of the night. Around midnight, the defendant went out to the back of their property, walked about 50 feet to this trailer where he had been hiding a gun. He made sure that that gun was fully loaded with 6 rounds of ammunition, went back into that house, and began to execute his plan. He first went to the room that he shares with Miss Ortiz and their 2 youngest children, a toddler as well as a 7-year-old boy. He turned on the lights and then had the gun pointed at Miss Ortiz's face. As he began to fire the gun, she bent over forward and was shot twice, once in the back of the neck and again in the upper back. And then at some point, he then turns his attention away from Miss Ortiz and begins to walk towards the room that both 15-year-old Rachel and 11-year-old Sophie share. He opens the door to the girls' bedroom, looks back at Natalie Ortiz, and says, "Guess who's next?" He first points the gun at Rachel, who at this point had been woken from the shots. Rachel instinctively covered her head with her arm, and as a result, she was shot in the elbow. The defendant then focused his attention on 11-year-old Sophie and pointed the gun at Sophie. This time he missed. He got the side of her bed, and Sophie was able to run out of the room. Rachel tried to get out of the room through a back door. She's jiggling with the door. The defendant lifts the gun again and successfully hits her in the back of the neck. She hits the ground and severs her spinal cord due to the gunshot wound. Natalie was able to somehow muster up the strength to get herself back onto the bed and call 911.
911 emergency.
I need an ambulance, but I've been shot. So if my kids hurry.
What is your name?
Natalie.
Last name Natalie? Who shot you?
My boyfriend.
Sophie then finds the back door that Rachel actually tried to take and is able to get out that back door. She then runs to the side of the property and jumps a fence on their property. That is how she's able to get out. She then runs to a neighbor, knocks on the front door, and asks for help. Natalie, as the doctors described, was basically minutes from death. She had lost so much blood that when she went to the hospital, they had to fill her body weight in blood 2 times to even just get her stable. Then they were able to then continue with the surgery of her injuries. She had to be placed in an induced coma for quite a bit of time. The police officers are still trying to figure out what happened, and they also unfortunately have the job of trying to get that information before the victims go into surgery, because they don't know whether they're going to make it out of surgery.
Okay, and then he came into your room and just started shooting?
Yeah.
Was he saying anything while he was shooting?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I'm sure he was.
Okay.
Rachel is actually doing really good at school. This is her last year. Principal and everybody's really amazed at all the classes, and she's taking extra classes to catch up. She's doing homeschooling. She's doing like so many classes, and usually the typical kid takes about 8 weeks to finish a class, and she's finishing them in about a week. You know, she's really determined to graduate.
She's always been there for me, and she just helped me a lot.
And she really is an inspiration that just because something awful happened to you, something so horrific happened to you, doesn't mean your life is over.
I think for me to be so calm and content now, it takes a lot, and so I don't know, just to be recognized for that and everything I went through is just makes me feel really grateful for everyone that has helped along this journey.
Probably the three most strongest women I've met. Sophie at 11 years old had the strength and the courage to get out of there, to fight and run out of there and fight for her mom and her sister. I mean, the mere fact that she was able to think so quickly and move so quickly at that young of an age, I mean, just shows how much courage she had on that night. And Natalie is an inspiration because, you know, she was lying on that floor dying. There is no question about it. And really, you know, she should have died that night. She was really within minutes of death. By some miracle, she had the strength to get up off that ground and get to that phone.